Alright, Dennis, I'm recording this video for you in case we need to use it in the future. I managed to remove the stuff from the back, the ring gear, crank wheel, and this is what your rear main seal looks like. There's evidence that someone else has been here. I can tell that someone has done something here at some point in the past. One, this gasket maker. It just looks different than what Infiniti does from the factory. And the bolts, especially these ones down here, the ones for the oil pan, have been touched, have been tampered with. This seal over here, this rear main seal, also looks like it was replaced. It looks rather new. But I was a little concerned at first because there was a little bit of gunk, a little bit of material when I ran my hand through it, over it. That's what you see. Typically you want it to be as close as possible to dry, but it's not bad. So at this point it's mainly a judgment call. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe it, tilt it again, fill it with oil, and see how far it goes. I know it's not leaking, and with the VK45DEs you typically don't want to mess with them for the sake of messing with them. They don't really have rear main seal problems. And when you come here, I wanted to show the bottom of it to show that there's no leak really. This place has been really clean, and it would have been leaking by now if there was any problem. So I'd say we're good here. The rear main seal is fine. No real need to tamper with it. This is just more evidence over here that someone was here. The way as thick as this bead is over here, this is definitely not a Nissan job. I don't know if, maybe if we have the VIN number from the other car, we could try to run it and try to understand what happened to the car. Maybe they replaced the oil pan, maybe they rebuilt the engine, maybe this engine is not original to the car because the transmission did not seem original, and that the transmission is a different story. I got some really, really dirty oil out of it, so no, this is mixed up. It was really black, I think is what I have in there. But so that's my concern, or rather that's my judgment call. I will probably go ahead and replace the water control valve that goes over here. Not a problem with that, it's pretty easy. Replace the thermostat that goes over here, and probably replace this housing as well. I don't like how it looks like. Seems like it's just ready to go. Over here, that's a little bit of a different story as well. Got my cheater bar and all that. I tried to break that loose. It did not seem like it wanted to budge at all. So I know this engine has been outside the car. I know this engine has been worked on, and I think someone torqued the hell out of that. Personally, I would rather not break it loose. I would rather not tamper with that, just for the sake of putting it back together. What I can say about it is this: I've looked underneath here, and there are no leaks. So I'm pretty confident that this was done by, at minimum, a shop, someone who has got some sense in what they were doing. But I'm going to take this off so we can actually check better. But I did get a flashlight and look. This looks like a rebuilt engine at some point. It looks like someone did touch it in one way or another. And we've heard it run. It's different when you buy a car from a seller and you have no idea whether it runs or not. But this one here runs. So that I do know. And we heard it, right? Remember, before we removed it, we wanted to hear it first, make sure it's even worth the effort. So I'm confident with this engine as is. The two things I wanted to do that I'm not going to do are replacing the front crank seal and the rear main seal over there. As I said, in these engines it's not usually a problem. However, if I'm removing the oil pan for whatever reason, I would check. Not here. I'm not going to do that. This here is just my crank wheel locking gear, and right now it's on the good. It's just that I took it off because I wanted to. No, I have it on there because it was holding this stationary while I turned it up. While I turned it around, while I tried to loosen it. The front, as I said, it is not moving at all, and I really see no need to mess with it. That's how you end up damaging threads. Let's call it good. It's good enough. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and change the spark plugs, the valve cover gaskets, the thermostats, and PCV valves, and we should be good to put this thing back together. At least the engine part of it, okay? Alright, for now we're going to call it good and talk tomorrow. Check this out. This is your passenger side head. I just removed the valve cover gasket. Doesn't look too bad, really. Look at that. Well, something that stood out to me is how clean this place is. No varnish or anything like that. Almost looks like a new engine, honestly. So usually when you see that amount of cleanliness, you could get suspicious. You know, is it coolant? Is it, you know, what exactly is cleaning it? Because if the coolant system is breaching into here, it's going to cause a steam cleaning, basically. But it seems like this is mostly oil, all oil. I see no coolant at all, so I suppose no reason to panic. This must be fine. And let me get my flashlight in there so we can see it better. Yeah, all oil. It's all oil over here, no corrosion or anything. And that's usually an indicator. Well, if you see the corrosion, that's an indicator of water being in here. But so again, this kind of goes to solidifying my suspicion that this engine over here is a rebuild. I don't know how far ago, but something has been done to this engine recently. Alright, well, I'm going to check out the other side and see what's on there as well, but you could see from the spark plugs that it definitely needed to be replaced. Alright, back to work I go. Alright, so here's part 2. This is the driver's side, and similarly, you have a pretty clean engine. Yes, I go back to my theory that this engine has been rebuilt recently, and I would like to tamper with it as little as possible. I don't really know what they did before me, so I'm gonna do the non-intrusive work. The valve cover gasket, yes, I'm replacing it, but it wasn't exactly leaking. You know, there were no concerning leaks over here. It just seems like a good practice. Might as well do it, because I don't know how long this thing has been running. And then the other thing is that these valve covers look new to me. They look like they are not OEM Nissan for whatever reason. They feel like it to me. But they fit well, and I tightened everything down. So yeah, I just wanted to record another video to show you the progress of these things. The other side is all done. Have the spark plugs in there, have the coil packs pulled back on, the valve cover gasket on. This side here, all I've done is put new spark plugs in, because yeah, remember I showed you the spark plugs as they looked kind of messed up, right? Alright, so that's what we have for right now. What's next is going to be the PCV valve, which I have ready. It's sitting over here. That's a PCV valve with an O-ring. I'm going to replace that one there, which doesn't look too bad either, but it's got quite a lot of oil. I'm concerned why it looks like that. Then replace the valve cover gasket, and we are money. The other side already has the PCV valve replaced, and everything's good to go on that side. Alright, let's keep working. Another update. This is your water control valve in the back. As you can see here, this is what I saw when I opened the system. You have, yeah, the green coolant stuff, but you also have some white, feels like gel, maybe? Yeah, that's what it looks like. So definitely not a bad idea to replace stuff, but I have no idea what the hell was going on in there. But yeah, we're good. I'll address that. I'm gonna replace it and keep moving. So yeah, as I said, that's what you have for the water control valve. We'll see what the thermostat in the front looks like. This is the back of the engine. All right. So this is something else I had noticed. This is the one I removed from the car. I remember looking at the rubber thinking, man, that looks so huge. What the hell's going on with that? And then this is the OEM one that you bought online. And look at it. It looks different, right? Slightly different. Look at the size of the rubber. There you go. So I'm not fully blaming it for anything, but typically from experience, Nissan vehicles do well only with OEM type thermostats. So I can tell you that this one here definitely does not look like an OEM Nissan one. I don't know, well maybe it is, maybe it's just improved. It says Nissan over here, I'm sorry about that. NTC, it's a 95 degrees Celsius one, and right here NTCL, 95 degrees Celsius. So yeah, my bad, it is definitely a little different. I just didn't know why or how and all that, and maybe it has just come to the end of its time. So there you go, this is what's going in. And I've already put a new O-ring over there because your old O-ring is over there and flat. Alright, more work. We're about done with the rear now. Alright, finally, here's a thermostat that was installed in the car. It's got a little bit of drip action going on with it. I don't know what the deal is. Compare that with this one that you bought and I'm about to put in the car. It is a Nissan as well. Sorry. It is a Nissan as well. I don't know. Something looks different. You know. Let's look at the temperature. 82 degrees Celsius over there. This one is for 82 degrees Celsius as well. So, same. Just slightly different design. Look at this one here. Look at that one there. So, let me go ahead and remove this one from the car. You can see how it looks on the inside. Okay, not too bad. The cavity is not all that bad, but again, we see that greenish, whitish crud that we saw on the backside. But the design on the back is pretty similar on both of these. It just looks like one of these has been maybe running in unclean water, this messed up water. Well, the other one is new, so that makes sense. Just looks way more different than some of the other ones I've removed. Jiggle valve in place, same here. Make sure I install that with this at 12 o'clock, pretty much. All right, so we're gonna do that, put it back together. And this here gives me a little concern, just because of how whitish it looks. It looks like it's getting ready to break. So I'm gonna look at your other one. This is the one from the locked up engine. And maybe I'll end up using this one. I don't know. I'll clean both of them up and make my decision. Yeah, this one looks a little worse. Something's been going on with the heating system of that engine. The one that's running. Anyway, so again, back to work. It's 9 p.m. Well, 9:11 p.m. and I'm cooking. Well, cooking thermostats over here. Because we are trying to see if this thermostat opens up when it's supposed to open up. 82 degrees is what we're aiming for, and sure enough, at about 82-ish degrees on the, I use this meter right here, the temp gun. It's 91 degrees Celsius right now. I'm gonna let this thing cool down and let me run it through cold water and see what happens when the wax bead. You'll see it closing up. Okay, so here you go. What's the gap on the other side, right? You see the spring moving? Pretty freaky, right? There you go. That's how thermostats operate. It's gonna go ahead and close itself all the way. You notice I can't see anything through this gap over here. Well, there's no gap. So I've cooled it sufficiently. Fully closed. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and dunk it in water again. As I said, this water is about 90 degrees is what I saw. Let me shoot it up top. 90 degrees Celsius. So let me do it. Dunk it in again. Can you see it opening over the steam and all that? Turn off the flash. Just making the steam a little more visible. You can see a little bit of a gap there. Keep heating it up. see the gap getting larger and larger and larger? That's the gap I was talking about. Yep, that's how thermostats work. The wax capsule gets hot and moves that shaft down. And there you go. Alright, well, I've proven that this thermostat does indeed work as advertised, so I'm going to go ahead and install it in the car. Alright, that's it for now, guys. Detail now. So I took the lower idler pulley out, the power steering idler pulley, just to be able to see what we have here. Under the crank, the main crank pulley, no leaks at all, so there was no oil leak over there. However, there's a little bit of grime situation on the right side of the engine, which seems like it came from up here, somewhere here. It's been grimed up. Looks like a power steering leak or whatever situation. But as I said, I just wanted to show that and show that for the most part this engine is a-okay. Look at this part over here. So a little bit of a leak as well, but I think that's something to do with the power steering. We'll look at that later. All right. Okay, good enough for now. Let's put it away.